Welcome, everyone, to Living with the Times. We are in the beginning of the period called the 3 weeks between the fast of Yud Zayin Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, 2 fast days that commemorate and remember the destruction of the temples and many other things that happened in Jewish history. And this 3-week period is sometimes called Bein Mitzarim, between the fences, between the narrow psychological place of what we're experiencing at this time of the year. These 3 weeks are actually 22 days. From Yud Zayin B'Tammuz through Tisha B'Av is 22 days. And that reminds us of the 22 letters. So just like in English, we have an expression, you want to do a project, you say, you got to do it from A to Z. In Hebrew, we say from Aleph ad Tav. 22, from Aleph ad Tav. That's a whole cycle. Now it turns out that there is another cycle in the year of 22 days. And that is from Rosh Hashanah through Simchas Torah in Eretz Yisrael. Outside of Israel, there's an extra day. But in Israel, from Rosh Hashanah through Simchas Torah is 22 days. So the Slonim Rebbe in Netivot Shalom makes a beautiful comparison. And he says that when a person wants to paint a picture, so first they make an outline. They get it down, the basic figure of what they want to draw or paint. And then they color it in. So the Slonim Rebbe said that the 3 weeks that we're in right now, this is the outline for the year. This is where we begin to create the outline of the coming year. And then when we get to the second cycle of 22 days between Rosh Hashanah and Simchas Torah, this is like coloring it in. So at first this might sound a little strange because usually we're used to talking about Elul, the month of Elul, as preparing for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But here the Slonim Rebbe says it's starting even before. And what we can compare this to is the spiritual Kabbalistic cosmology of the Arizal, who explains that when God wanted to create the world, and at that time there's no time, there's no space, there's only the infinite light of God. So God contracted himself, as it were. It's called the Tzimtzum, in order to make place for a physical world. So here we see the 22-day period that we're in now is the Tzimtzum, is the contraction that prepares ourselves for a new year. And just like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is a time of reflection, introspection, a time of repentance and tshuva, really looking at ourselves. What did we do in this previous year? What are we going to do? What do we want to do? So this 3-week period is also a time of great introspection, but more on a national or international level, a universal level. Rosh Hashanah through Yom Kippur, of course, we think about other people, all of Israel, all of the world. But a lot of the spiritual work is on an individual level. This period of time is when we really contemplate Jewish history. We contemplate why the exile, what are we looking forward to in the redemption. We have a tradition that Mashiach is born on Tisha B'Av. So this is another idea that first is the contraction. First is the feeling of exile, and then we're prepared for redemption. We're prepared for a new year. It should be noted that in Hebrew, the word for exile and redemption are virtually the same except one letter. And the word in Hebrew for exile is gola, and the word for redemption is geula. So the only difference is an aleph, like a fine line between exile and redemption. And right now in history, we're at that fine line, because here we've come back to Israel. Almost a majority of Jews in the world are now back in Israel. Such miracles have occurred in the last 100 years that we exist here, and the state of Israel has grown to be the startup nation, to be a very, very powerful nation in technology and medical research and agricultural research. And it's just so many miracles, but we still have one foot in exile. So we're like the shape of the letter Aleph that has a Yud going up and a Yud going down, and in between there's a slanted Vav. So in history, we're like in between exile and redemption. So these 3 weeks is a very, very good time for us to really contemplate the totality of Jewish history, the mission of the Jewish people, and what we need to get that one extra step to get ourselves into redemption. May we see it soon and in our days.